Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Good News Corner. Bobby Wilson here. Love to you there. How you doing? That's good. No matter what you're facing, your circumstances, we all are facing problems, situations, things happening in our lives, our family lives. Listen, the God of the universe sees you and he cares. All right? You got to know that God loves you. In fact, God looked at his people and said, they are the apple of my eye. God loves you that much. You know, he cares for you. He sees you and he's concerned. Everything you're concerned about, God is concerned about. Yes, yes, yes. So look, continue to put your trust in the Lord. Okay? Okay. I'd like to share with you today seeking and finding God. In the Old Testament, God's presence and his relationship with his people was mediated through priests and the temple system. The people of God worshiped God and prayed to him, but it was the priests who would enter a sacred space and speak with God on their behalf. They revered God, but they were still separated from him. However, the prophet Jeremiah wrote about a time when God's people would be able to experience a direct relationship with him. God's Spirit would dwell in them, and they could find him anywhere at any time. Through Jesus, Jeremiah's prophecy was fulfilled. Jesus sent the Spirit of God to dwell within us, to have access to God's presence at any time. This means that God is never far from you. Just like it says in Jeremiah 29:13, he can be found when we seek him. He is present and ready for a relationship with you. Jeremiah also says that we must seek God with all of our heart. We don't just seek God, he seeks us as well. When you pursue a relationship with God, he wants access to every part of you. The way you think, the way you act, and even the way you feel. He wants to transform your entire life. At first, it may seem hard to give God access to our past or the things we're ashamed of, but God is full of grace and mercy, and he wants us to be free from those things. Seeking God with all of your heart may feel risky at times, but we can trust he knows best and will love us regardless of what we've done. Ask God to reveal within you any part of your life that you haven't surrendered to God. Pray for the strength and courage to give all of your life to God. Continue to seek him and follow him each and every day. If you look for truth, you may find comfort in the end. If you look for comfort, you will not get either comfort or truth, only soft soap and wishful thinking to begin, and in the end, despair. Straight tribulation is easier to bear than tribulation which advertises itself as pleasure. No great wisdom can be reached without sacrifice. The enemies are both right. There is a great gulf today between what is popularity known as liberalism and conservatism. Each side demands that you not only disagree with, but disdain the other as at best crazy or at worst evil. This is particularly true when religion is the point of issue. Progressives cry out that fundamentalism is growing rapidly and non-belief is stigmatized. They point out that our politics has turned toward the right, supported by megachurches and mobilized believers. Conservatives endlessly denounce what they see as a major increasingly skeptical and relativistic society. Major universities, media companies, and elite institutions are heavily secular, and they control the culture. Which is it? Is skepticism or faith on the ascendancy in the world today? The answer is yes. The enemies are both right. Skepticism, fear, and anger toward traditional religion are growing in power and influence, but at some time, robust orthodox belief in the traditional faith is growing as well. The non-church-going population in the United States and Europe is steadily increasing. The number of Americans answering no religion preference to poll questions has skyrocketed, having doubled or even tripled in the last decade. A century ago, most U.S. universities shifted from a formerly Christian foundation an overly secular one. As a result, those with traditional religion beliefs have little foothold. More and more people identify themselves as having no religious preference. Certain churches with supposedly obsolete beliefs in an infallible Bible and miracles are growing in the United States and exploding in Africa and Asia. Even in much of Europe, there is some growth in church attendance. And despite the secularism of most universities and colleges, religious faith is growing in some corners of teachers and professors of philosophy in the country are Orthodox Christians. Up formalists than 1% just 30 years ago. Prominent academic Stanley Fish may have had an eye on that trend when he reported when Jacques Derrida died in November 2004, was called by a reporter who wanted to know what would succeed high theory and, and things of race, gender, and class as the center of intellectual energy in the academy. I answered like a shot. Religion. In short, the world's polarization over religion, it is getting both more religious and less religious at the same time. There was once a confident belief that secular European countries were the harbingers for the rest of the world. Religion, it was thought, would thin out from its more robust supernaturalist forms or die out altogether. But the theory that technological advancement brings inevitable secularization is now being scrapped or radically rethought. Even Europe may not face a secular future with Christianity growing and Islam growing exponentially. That was an interesting article I thought I would share with you today. Listen, thank you for joining me on the Good News Corner. Bobby Wilson here. Love to you there. Remember, the God of the universe cares about you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.